Hey everyone, it's Broman here, and I was just looking at the news apps like on my phone. And I came across this article, and it's on Star Wars, and it's titled "What Happens to the Star Wars Standalone Movies Now." I'll go ahead and read this. Let's see, it is by Graham McMillan or Graham McMillan. Not exactly sure how to pronounce that, but so here we go. With yet another film series joining a galaxy far, far away, will there still be room for spin-offs like Rogue One? Tuesday brought big news for a galaxy far, far away. Game of Thrones producers David Benioff and D.B. Weiss have signed on to create a new series of Star Wars movies, with the announcement from Lucasfilm coming just months after November's revelation that The Last Jedi writer-director Rian Johnson is developing his own trilogy for the franchise, which is like the worst idea ever. But we're just gonna keep milking these films. The latest news is a hint at where Lucasfilm is looking to take the Star Wars property as a whole, but one that raises an obvious question: what's happening to the standalone Star Wars movies? As originally announced, the Star Wars story films were to alternate with the new episodes on the central series of movies. Layered fine by the studio as the Skywalker saga, the story picks would be one-offs exploring parts of the galaxy that the core storyline left untouched, and allowing new filmmakers to come in and give their own voices to the property as a whole. The directors initially connected to the story movies were young and up and coming, suggesting that this would be the future of the franchise and a way to expand it beyond what had previously existed. And then things went wrong a lot. It's fair to say that none of the Star Wars story movies have been smooth sailing to date. First, filmmaker Josh Trank was removed from the second of the standalone movies after reports of difficult behavior on Fox's Fantastic Four set. Fantastic Four flopped resoundingly. It's worth noting that Lucasfilm also removed original Episode 9 director Colin Trevorrow after his Book of Henry failed in a similarly public manner. Rogue One underwent extensive reworking and post-production, with veteran helmer Tony Gilroy taking over the movie to get it to meet Lucasfilm's expectations. It ultimately became a critical and commercial hit. Most recently, solo directors Christopher Miller and Phil Lord were fired just weeks away from the end of the principal photography, with another veteran, Ron Howard, installed to finish the film. And Rogue One, I did a review for that like months ago, but that was a movie I did not care for. Like, the problem with these movies that they're doing is that they're stories that have already been told in a certain way from the expanding your legends material, and they're just redoing that stuff again. Like, it's really bad. I have these videos up, which have explained, the Han Solo movie is not needed because there are 3 books that tell his origin. Like, there's just no reason whatsoever for these movies to exist, and especially with Rogue One, when there's already been material that's told how the Death Star plans were stolen. But of course, you watch a Collider video from the time when the movie was being made and stuff. It's like, we have no idea how the plans were stolen. I'm like, we know how the plans were stolen. It was, part of Operation Skyhook that went on, that was a rebel, operation, and it helped steal parts of the Death Star plans. But, when Disney bought, Lucasfilm from George Lucas, they pretty much threw out all the expanded universe stuff and turn into Legends material. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I guess you want to tell new stories, but they're technically repeating what's already been said. Like, what's going on? Like, if you want to tell those stories, then just let those stories sit there. Like, there's no reason then. I can understand getting rid of the comic books and a few other things, but I mean, I think there was stuff being said from, was it Collider Video at the time, from John Campea. He was saying how, they were like having continuity issues or something like that. But there's stories that were being told with the New Republic even having issues with the Imperial Remnants, and it felt like it was never ending. It kept going. I'm like it was kind of getting boring, because I think it was like part of the Legacy era or something like that. I can't remember. It was like after the New Jedi Order stuff, which covered the Yuuzhan War, which was the only new thing out of that stuff, really, where this alien species came from another galaxy and like invaded the Star Wars galaxy and just was wreaking havoc and stuff. So that was really the only new stuff, which I'm like thinking to myself, well, why not just take that material? And I understand Chewie dies, but you don't have to take the exact stuff and have a character die. But Han dying is the same thing as Mara Jade Skywalker dying, and Kylo Ren is just Jason Solo Darth Caedus. That's pretty much how it is. They're just reusing stuff and rewriting it for their favor. And people are stupid enough to just take that crap. Because when I saw the movie several times, because I was, everyone was like Phantom Menacing over Phantom Menace. That's what everyone's doing with these movies. So, anyways, so I will continue here. So, with that kind of batting average, it's understandable that Lucasfilm might be rethinking the entire Star Wars story program, with fans still clamoring for spin-offs such as Boba Fett, Solo film, and an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie to be directed by Stephen Daldry. It's possible that audiences expect more standalone films in the future, but it's also easy to imagine that Lucasfilm could quietly fold the initiative altogether. Even if it doesn't, Daldry is hardly the upcoming new talent that the story movies seem to be initially promoting. So there's been more internal rethinking underway, which is funny that people want an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. So like, why? Who's asking for it exactly? Like, I mean, although I heard more people wanting this and Boba Fett one, but the problem with that stuff is you don't need to do that. I will reiterate, there's Han Solo books on his origin, there is a Lando book, and there's stuff that covers Boba Fett, and there's a Obi-Wan book called, I think, like Obi-Wan or Kenobi at least. So I'm like thinking to myself, well, what's the point? Because it's stupid. It's like, all you gotta say, hey, is like, because they have their celebration stuff. It's like, just say, hey, we're just gonna be doing these, and that's it. We're just gonna tell character stories in the books. That way, we don't have to, waste money on doing them in movies. Because really, I mean, The Force Awakens stuff should have been something completely different. Entirely not, Imperial Remnants again. But anyways, If the story picks continue, the fact of 2 upcoming new Star Wars movies, new Star Wars series. Sorry, it's been a long day. I got off work and stuff, so I'm just doing this. Running concurrently might mean that there's little to no space on the release schedule for standalone movies across the next few years, unless of course Disney and Lucasfilm intend to increase the release schedule for Star Wars post 2019 when the final episode of the Skywalker saga finishes. That is definitely a possibility, given the success of the last 3 Star Wars movies. Could the ramping of new continuing Star Wars properties be the excuse Lucasfilm needed to show the standalones until a later date when the machine will run more smoothly, or at least not break down so publicly? Okay, so I don't think they need to do standalone films. I think there's a Kenobi book, there's the Han Solo, there's Lando. I know there's stuff, was like Tales of the Bounty Hunters or something like that, like Tales from Mos Eisley or something like that for the Bounty Hunter stuff and all that. So there are these books out there. I suggest just reading them, get them from Amazon or your library, and not worry about this stuff, because there's no reason. If I was in charge, I wouldn't focus on standalone movies. If I was in Kathleen Kennedy's place, I'm sure everything would be totally different. The sequel trilogy would probably be more on the Yuuzhan Vong War, with the Empire completely gone. And I probably would have left the Grand Admiral, the Thrawn trilogy where it was, and then make books to follow up on those, and to say that the Empire's dead, it's gone. That's probably what I would do. If you want better stories on how the Death Star plans were stolen, I know there's old Star Wars games that cover that stuff. But I guess you could just read Operation Skyhook on Wikipedia. So, not Wikipedia. So, yeah, that's about it, really. I just wanted to read this over just because it's it seems that they have no idea what they're going to do with these movies. But yeah, I'm sure there's a Boba Fett book or something like that out there. I know there's an Obi-Wan Kenobi one. So if you want stories, standalone stories, just look up on Amazon or your library and just read them and enjoy them, because you're probably going to find them more entertaining than what we got with the movies. Rogue One was such a mess that it didn't know what it was trying to be. And Force Awakens was just tiptoeing off of, A New Hope, and it's kind of bad when you have to, reuse plot points from a movie from 1977, which is really bad. But that just shows how unoriginal they are. They don't know what they're doing. So, but yeah, find those books, read them, and forget about these movies. Just forget them. We can all pretend that episodes 7 and 8 don't exist, due to the fact I have to show this again. One sec here. I've shown this before, but I will do it again. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. No. Book. I will show this again, because I must. Because this shows how unoriginal Star Wars has become. Star Wars The Last Jedi. A book that exists... Oops. No button. A book that exists before the movie. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Bye.